Hey guys, welcome to a new video. I wanted to make this video today because I want to answer somebody's comment that was left in our last video. And I'm not sure what I'm going to title it, but shout out to you guys. Let's go ahead and read the comment and let's get into the video. All right, so let me pull up the video first and let's pull up the comment. All right, so this is the comment. It says, and by the way, for anybody who's not sure, yesterday we talked about basically looking at the right metrics for success when you're not only starting a blog, but when you're getting deeper into it. You're creating content for that blog, you're working on that blog. What kind of metrics should you pay attention to? And like I said in yesterday's video, the metric that I pay attention to and that I believe is the most important metric is your clicks, right? And don't base your success off of your impressions, because then you're going to be gassing yourself up. You're going to be telling yourself a fake narrative. You're going to be thinking that you're a top-notch A1 blog based on your impressions, but impressions don't reflect the reality of your business, right? And I also said, don't look at your click-through, not your click-through rate, but your ranking rate. I believe that's called, sorry, the name escapes me at the second, but it was your average ranking position. That's what it was, average ranking position. And I said, don't look at that because that's going to decrease your morale. It's going to demotivate you. And the reason why that is because as a blog that's growing and creating content, the amount of keywords that are going to be lower in the ranking are going to be more than the ones that are higher. And that's natural for a blog that's growing. So I'm not going to sit here and play the ad or anything. I'm just going to go straight into the comment that really needs some attention here. So this is from Agoraphobia Exposure, right? And here, let's go ahead and read this person's comment. And he says here, the traffic on my blog is terrible. I need all that help I can get, and I'm totally lost. After writing 90 posts in almost 15 months, I'm not doing well at all compared to where I think I should be. I've had 8 organic views and 167 impressions in the last 3 months. Yeah, there's definitely a problem. If that's what you're receiving, there's definitely something going on in your website that's not right, for sure. It says here, I understand what you're saying about average position. Average is often not a useful metric, especially when dealing with multiple keywords across multiple pages. Having said that, I don't think it's better for your average to be higher than lower. Okay, so once again, context is everything. In my last video, I said that you shouldn't pay attention to your average position of your ranking for a growing blog that's in the process of growing, not a successful blog, not a beginner blog, but a growing blog where you're adding content to it every single month. And I want to be specific, guys, here. A growing blog, I've defined this already in the free course. If you're not familiar, you go to cashcownichesites.com. I created a free course amongst many paid products, right? I have a free course. You go here to the website, you click on the link for the free blogging course, and here it is. You sign up. And I was very specific on what a growing blog is. A growing blog is a blog that you're contributing to on a consistent basis. I have many blogs that are what I call a non-growing site or an established site. And those are sites that I don't go sit there, I don't go on the blog, and I don't work on it again. The job is already done. Meaning, I have niche sites that I'm working on actively, and then I have sites that I don't work on anymore. They just produce income for me, and I'm happy where they stay, even if the result is stagnated every single month. Meaning, if I have a blog that I've built up to, let's say, $1,700 a month, and I don't want to work on it anymore, I don't have to, because that $1,700 is pretty much all profit. Aside from the hosting, the domain cost every year, it's pretty much essentially like 99% profit. That business I don't have to worry about. I'm not going to go back and work on it. That's what I call an established site. And it's not growing anymore. I'm not trying to rank more keywords. It's already got the job done. And I've said this before, guys, but I am very, very heavily based on in the blogging business, work smarter, not harder. You're going to have to work hard regardless in the blogging business. But if you can work smarter, which means you pick the right keywords, you do the right things, you play in the right markets, you'll make more money faster. It's just, it's obvious, right? It's point blank period kind of thing. Anyways, it says, having said that, I do think it's better for your average to be higher than lower. It's true. Your average position should be higher, right? Like, let's just say your average position should be better. Like, for example, a position of 2 is better than a position of 4. That's obvious, right? There's no question about that. But not when you're growing, because when you're but either way, like what I'm trying to say here is when you're growing, right? When your blog is growing, more keywords are going to be added very, very frequently to your website. We're talking in the hundreds if you're doing it right on a weekly basis, sometimes even monthly basis. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. If you're doing those things, your average ranking is not going to go higher. It's going to go lower. If you think that every single month your average ranking should be better, that's not true. Not when you're growing it. Like, when you're growing it, you need to only be focusing on those clicks. Only. All right? Let me go ahead and keep reading here. It says, what I don't agree with is when you say that your impressions aren't important. I think they are. You can get organic clicks without impressions. Okay. You can't get organic clicks without impressions. Okay, so here we go again, guys. This is taking things, I believe, I don't want to say out of context, but this is just not what we're talking about here. This is a different direction of the argument. No one is able to click on your link if it doesn't show up. Your impressions is the ceiling of possibility in terms of how many clicks you can get. So let's be clear. When I say that impressions are important, I'm referring, context is everything. In that video, or in this video, I'm referring to an individual who's building their blog. And what did I say specifically about impressions? I said people that gas themselves up. For example, if you have 100 clicks on your website, but you have 32,000 impressions, it's really not something you would give yourself a pat on the back for. You're fooling yourself, because you can sit there and say, yeah, you know what? I showed up 32,000 times. This is amazing. This is dope. But with that same mentality, every single month in, month out, if you get 100 clicks, where are you going? You're not improving yourself. The results are not being substantiated. There's nothing you could walk away with. My point here is that you need to focus on growth. And of course, impressions are that ceiling of the possibility. But if your possibility is not actually changing and your ceiling still exists, that doesn't make a difference to your actual success. An investor who's going to buy your website is not going to look at your impressions and say, you know what, there's a lot of impressions here. We should buy this website. That not once has that ever happened. And if somebody has, they're amateur. They're not an investor. They're probably buying on a low dollar amount. So my point here is that when you look at impression, of course, right, the more impressions you get potentially indicates the more clicks you get. But there's a lot of websites out there that get impressions but no clicks. And you're going to realize that as your blog gets bigger, the number of impressions will drastically outweigh the number of clicks you get. I can get 477 million impressions on a blog, and that same blog can get 40,000 clicks. It's not the same thing, and it shouldn't even be comparable. You're not going to be able to reach the heights of your impressions at all. Like not even, literally at all. There's no other way I can explain it. As you blog and as you become more professional at blogging and you treat it like a profession and you become serious and produce a lot of income with it, you're going to realize that the only thing that matters to you is the clicks, because your money depends on it. And I'm speaking from somebody from the perspective of my income depends on it, right? I'm not going to sit here and fool myself and say, you know what, at least we got X amount of impressions. That doesn't happen. And the reason why, like I said, is because I'm solely focused on the income that it produces. And clicks equals income. Impressions does not equal income. Impressions equals potential. But here's the thing. You can be on page 8 and you'll still get impressions. You can be on page 3 and you'll still get impressions. That does not indicate a good blog whatsoever. And you should not fool yourself, all right? And maybe for the person who wrote this comment, maybe you've been focusing on the wrong things, because it doesn't seem, and out of respect, I don't mean disrespectfully, out of respect, that your blog has really moved the needle. You know what I'm trying to say? You said in the last 3 months, you have 8 organic views and 167 impressions. Once again, I think you're looking at the wrong things. And that's not the reason why your blog isn't moving the needle, like I said. That's not what determines a successful blog. I could be looking at impressions all day, but that doesn't mean my blog is going to end up unsuccessful. In your case, something's going wrong. And it's more often than not, it's more than one thing. It's not just, one thing. I've said this before in the free blogging course multiple times, is that you're not going to have just one aspect of your business that tanks your website. Unless it's something that, makes your website not function entirely. But you're not going to have one thing that causes it. Meaning, let's say if I have 60 articles written and one of the articles is a terrible article, and let's say I usually rank in position anywhere from 5 to 12, I'm not all of a sudden going to start ranking in position 33 on all of my blog posts because I created one blog post that's bad. Does that make sense? One mistake or one bad decision is not going to drastically decrease the success of your business. And vice versa, one really, really good blog post is not going to radically change your business. It won't. It will make a small improvement. The same way having one mistake will make a small detriment or pull you back just a little bit, right? And you're playing a game of inches here. Every little blog post that you create that's a good blog post that generates traffic is you're getting 1 inch further down the line. Every bad thing, 1 inch backwards, right? So making one decision or one improvement is not going to shift the outcome of your business. You're not going to just go from making 500 clicks a month to 50,000 with one good blog post. It usually does not happen. Very, very rare does that ever happen, all right? And specifically on blogging, all right? Here, if you were talking about YouTube, it's a different ballgame because YouTube, you have something called virality, things like that. It's a different ballgame. But anyways, let's go ahead and keep reading. If your impressions are high, that means you have done everything right. That's not true. Once again, this is a fallacy, okay? If your impressions are high and you do not get clicks, that does not mean you have done everything right. That is not true. That's so not true. In fact, this is a fallacy that people will try to sell to you. You've done something wrong. Especially if you have 90 blogs and your website has been around for 15 months. Does that make sense? And let's be specific on time frames here, because we're to our specificity. Impressions high. What is high impressions? If your blog gets 50 impressions and you get no clicks, is that high impressions? Is your website gets 50 million impressions, is that high impressions? What about compared to somebody who gets 20,000 impressions? Is that high? Once again, we need to substantiate these numbers. But in general, as a general statement, that is a fallacy. Just because your impression's high does not mean you're doing anything right. That's not true. That just means the keywords exist on the web page. You have to understand that Google has one job, and that is to index and crawl, right? Index and order. Okay, and what that means is that when your website exists for a certain set of keywords, in those keywords the blog contains, now your website is going to be crawled for those keywords. Once it's crawled and it's indexed, okay, doesn't mean it's going to be on page 1 or page 2 or page 3. It could be on page 400. You wouldn't want that. That doesn't mean you're doing something right. In fact, more often than not, that means something is wrong. There's something wrong going on there. And you have to understand that, let's say, for example, I write a blog post, and that blog post ranks me, or let me be clear on the words that I'm using, crawls me and indexes the keywords, and now I'm being indexed for another 70 plus keywords. And those 70 plus keywords all have impressions each of 1,000 to 5,000 impressions. But let's say the blog never gets a single click. What Google is telling me is that, yeah, you exist on the algorithm for these keywords, but the reason why you're not getting any clicks is because we're not showing you at the top. And the reason why we're not showing you at the top is because your content for those keywords is just not good enough. You're just not good enough. It could also be domain authority as part of the game. There's a lot of things part of it. So we can't just list one thing, but those are parts of it. And it says here, that means you've done everything right in terms of ranking. That's, once again, not true. except that perhaps you just need to tweak your SEO title and SEO description. Okay, tweaking your SEO title and your SEO description is not going to be the thing that gets you ranking from position 33 to position 4 on Google. That's simply not true. That is absolutely not true. And in fact, if you study the SEO Google algorithm, we both know that there are over 233 ranking factors. If there are over two, and by the way, I created a product on this, a paid product, and I'm not afraid to share it. We have Google ranking factors. The Google ranking factors are critical. By the way, look at this. 71,900 clicks, right? On a blog that had just started, almost at 0, to 351,000 total impressions. That's a world of a difference. It's not even comparable. But anyways, Niche Site Ranking Factors mini course. Check it out, because you need to study up on the ranking factors. There are many different ranking factors, over 200 and something. Only a few really should matter to you, because the technology that exists today takes out more than, like, let's say 80% of them. Things like site speed, things like website functionality, mobile friendly. There's so many different ranking factors. There's a ranking factor of how well your header fits on a mobile device. There's so many different ranking factors. Some are nuanced, right? But the point here is that by tweaking one ranking factor, which is your metadata, which is your SEO title and your SEO description, you're not all of a sudden going to turn, let's say, 1,000 impressions and 0 clicks into 450 clicks and 1,000 impressions. That does not happen. In fact, if that was true, you would be able to do that with your website right now that has 8 organic views, if that was true. Because you're getting 167 impressions, why don't you turn them all to clicks? It's impossible. If you think that, like I said, SEO title, SEO description, you think that just changing that is going to change your world, that's not true at all. You need to actually work on what's in the content on the website so that people will be more likely enticed to clicking. Not true. People are more likely enticed to clicking based on what position the item is in. When do you find yourself going to page 5 or page 10 to click on a link? Never. Or scrolling for hours and hours and hours on Google to click on a link. Never. Which, just I said, disproves the statement, is that if you just shift the SEO title or the description, that's not going to shift your ranking. And the cart has to come before the horse, or does the horse come before the cart? Either way, this is a chicken and the egg problem. If you have your blog at position, let's say 64, and then you alter your SEO title and description, you're so back up in the rankings that people have to go first find your website and then click on it, and then Google will improve it. Or does it work the other way? Once you shift it, Google then improves it. Guys, this is not true. Shifting 2 small things like that is not going to change your business. That should be a signal to you, a very clear signal that Google is telling you, you've messed up here. Yeah, we'll put you in the index, but we're not going to change your world here. We're not going to change your results. Guys, if it was that easy, nobody would need to make videos just, talking about how to make money through blogging. I mean, SEOs wouldn't exist. But if you're saying that impressions really don't matter, fair enough. But I'm still not getting many clicks. I've been doing this for some time now, and it's hard to stay motivated. I understand. It's going to be hard to stay motivated if your website's not doing well. But the reality is you have to realize is that it's not doing well because of the decisions that you made. And this is something you have to take accountability for. No offense, I'm not going to, sugarcoat things. When you create a blog, Google rewards that blog to where it deserves to be. And that's just how life works. And a lot of people will sit there and they'll complain and they'll say, you know what, life doesn't work that way. It's all about who you know. People get treated unfairly, all this kind of stuff. This is the world we live in. When it comes down to Google, right? Google has one intention, and it's to provide the very best content to their readers up front to the reader as readily available as possible. Because they know viewers are not going to want to go scroll through multiple pages. And in fact, Google has gotten so good at that from an algorithmic standpoint that ask yourself this: how often do you really go to page 2 to even find the link. I could tell you this, I never go to page 2 ever. Like, there's not one set where I sit there, I search for something, and I say, you know what, let me go to see if page 2 has some results. Never happens. That's how good Google's algorithm is. And so the point here is that don't give yourself a false reality or a false narrative. Don't sit there and pat yourself on the back, go 15 months down the line, doing 90 blogs, and say, wow, I'm amazing, I have X amount of impressions. No, you should have woke up like 2 months into the game saying, where's my success here? Why am I not getting clicks? Where's my what's going on? Now, are impressions important to look at? I mean, sure, but it's not something you should base your decisions on. And once again, the reason why I say that is because your clicks are what matter more. And I'm speaking from a perspective, guys, to where my money matters, meaning my blogs pay my bills. This is how I live. YouTube doesn't get the job done. I mean, it's not going to do anything for me. I think on this YouTube channel, you know what? Let me just actually share this because I want you guys to see. I'm making I think 20 cents a day or something like that on YouTube. It doesn't even, look, this is how much we made in 1 month, $10.53. And we're making 26 cents, 23 cents. Like, this doesn't work. If anybody knows anything about YouTube, is that, and I've said this before, but blogs is how I make my money. It's what I do. And there's no worse thing in the world than working on something and then realizing you've done it all wrong. But it's a harsh learning lesson you got to deal with. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. I'm not sure what videos you've seen out there of mine. For the people who are listening to this, what's his name? Hold on. Let me go ahead and pause this. Agoraphobia exposure. I'm not sure what videos you've seen of mine. I'm not sure what videos you've seen of other people's. I'm not sure a lot of different details. I'm not sure where you've learned your information on blogging. I'm not sure. All I could do is, I said here, I don't mind doing a review of your blog. Let me know what the website link is. If you give us the website link, I'll do a review. I'll point you in the right direction. I'll tell you where you went wrong. But I could tell you this. You're not going to have done the right decisions and at the end of 15 months and 90 blog posts get 8 organic clicks or views. That's not going to happen. I'm just being real with you. I'm not saying this to demean you at all. You got to realize that everything that you're going through right now is everything that I've been through. I mean, I've failed so many times. I can't sit here and explain this enough. And some of the reasons that I get back and I work all the time, even though I'm financially good now, is I realize that I've crossed so many barriers and so many bridges to get where I am that it would be a shame if I wasted it all. Not wasted it, but if I neglected it. I mean, yeah, I've made my money. I could pretty much retire now, but yeah, it would be a shame if I just walked away from everything I put my effort into. And plus, the day would get pretty boring just doing nothing all day. So, yeah. And the point here is, as well, is with everything that you're doing, guys, you need to have an atmosphere of seriousness around your work. I'm not saying you're not serious, by the way, agoraphobia. I think you are misunderstanding my whole concept of this video. In fact, I recommend you probably should watch it again. When you're serious about your work, the finer details matter. And you have to work like your life depends on it. And I don't know how to pass on that spirit to people. I just don't know how I can explain that any other way. Do or die approach. And I'm definitely not going to die, so I have to do. I have to become successful. I have to do it. And that was just my mentality. So you're saying it's hard to stay motivated? I've said this before, but motivation is fleeting. I mean, it's cool to be motivated. Motivation means nothing. It's hard to be disciplined. But what do you want? What do you want in your life? Do you want to become successful? Do you want to make money online? Do you want to create a blog that's going to eventually make money? then you have to stick by it no matter what. No matter what. And it doesn't have to be this blog post, this blog website, by the way. You can close this one down and go to another one. That's not called a failure. That's called a pivot. It's called a learning lesson. You take what you learned, you move on to the next. That's just what the business is. So don't bring yourself down, man. Everybody, and I don't know if you're a girl or a guy listening to this, a woman or a man, but don't bring yourself down. You got to move forward because nobody's going to come to save you. Nobody's going to write those blog posts for you. And you definitely can't buy your way there. If you think that you're just going to hire some service or some website, right, that's going to just do it all for you, it's not going to happen. If those people knew what they were doing truly, they would not be sitting there servicing you. They would do it themselves, which is exactly what I do. I have the ability, okay? Let me put this into perspective for you guys. I talk about blogging a lot. You guys have seen me grow in blogs. You could even look at my website here, the metrics on a different website. 71,000 clicks in 3 months, okay? Or 12 months, rather. New blog, rather. There's a lot of different stuff I show, okay? I know how to write blog posts. To be clear, I don't sell that service. Why? Because I already know how to do it for myself. People that know what they're doing, they don't sell it to other people. And the thing here is that you can't buy your way to success in this game. At least I don't think you can. And some people might say, well, what about buying a blog? Well, if you're going to buy a successful blog, successful blogs cost money. A lot of money. Because they're money makers. They're easy ways to make income. And you're not going to be able to just, save your way to it. I mean, some of these blog posts can cost blogs cost $350,000. I'm selling one currently for like $279,000, something like that. I can't find a cash buyer. There are people requesting financing, all these kind of things. I just can't do it. I'm not going to sit there and wait for people to finance the business. Well, what if they run it into the ground if they don't have the cash for it? So the point here is that success leaves clues. And it's very clear when someone's becoming successful. You didn't wake up 15 months down the line doing 90 blog posts and then wondering why you didn't make it, right? You should have noticed this many, many months ago. By the second month, you should have noticed that something's going wrong, right? And once again, I think you should at least, if you don't have the money to afford the paid stuff, go get the free blogging course. It's going to open your eyes to certain things, and at least it will help you, from that standpoint. And then you got to think, what's your next move? All right? I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching, and peace out. Bye.